and especially for the families who are grieving today, as well as for all Americans who have suffered at the hands of this weekend's storms. This is a difficult end to a difficult year. Unfortunately, the people of this state have been asked too many times over the last few years to persevere during difficult times. But time and again, Illinoisans find a way to do just that, lifting each other up. And on nights like last night, literally offering a hand to their neighbors trapped in the wreckage. We should remember during this holiday season that even during the worst of days, Illinoisans find ways to show the best of themselves. During a time when much is made of what divides us, that gives me hope. I pray it does for you too. Thank you. And I'm happy to take any questions, and of course the leaders locally too.
Governor, when you talk to Amazon, did they talk about the fact that they took employees to a safe place? Was there anywhere where employees could go to get shelter?
We did not talk specifics about where the movement of employees were, but as I said, I implored them to stand up for this community, to make sure that the families get whatever they need in this community, and they've offered to do so. Yes, sir.
Can you tell us how many workers are estimated to be unaccounted for right now?
I'd like to leave that to the incident commander. Maybe you'd like to step up.
I'm sorry, the question was?
Do you have any idea how many workers are unaccounted for?
We do not. For numerous reasons, the warehouse doesn't have a specific count of how many employees were in the building at the time that the storm hit. So we're unable to determine how many may be missing still.
What can you tell us about the 6 fatalities, Denver,
We're not prepared to release any information like that at this time.
Can you clarify, please, if this is a search and rescue or if this is a search and recovery effort?
So at this point, we have transitioned to search and recovery. We don't expect that anyone could be surviving at this point.
Did Amazon get the emergency alert, and when did they alert their employees that the situation is ongoing?
I can't speak to that. That's internal policy for them and not something that we've discussed.
Did you ask someone from Amazon to come here today?
I'm sorry?
Did you ask someone from Amazon to come here today?
No,
Did they offer to send anyone?
not that I'm aware of, no.
Can you tell us why a company that can track packages all over the world can't tell us how many employees were in the building?
There's several different reasons. So there was a shift change going on. It's my understanding. They have vans that come in and they drop off the vans, and then people get in their cars and leave. So as this shift change was going on, the number of people in the building was varying. So that's part of it. They have part-time workers as well. So
Can you tell us, was this spot a fulfillment center where they actually loaded the packages onto the vans? What was happening at this specific building?
that's correct. This is a facility where they divide up the orders into routes that they're going to take, load them into the vans, and then the vans leave from there to go do the deliveries to homes and businesses.
Can you describe what the search and recovery efforts, when did they start and how long did they go on, and are they still happening now?
So the scene out there, there's about 150 yards of the building that were impacted by the tornado. The walls on both sides of the building collapsed inward. The roof of the building collapsed downward. So most of the weight of the building landed centrally into the building. These walls are made out of 11-inch thick concrete, and they're about 40 feet tall. So a lot of weight when that came down. Oh, one moment, please.
Can you tell us more about the search efforts? When did they start last night? Did they continue all day? And are they continuing at this hour?
So the call came in about 8:35 last night. We had our first units on scene about 6 minutes later, and we started search and recovery immediately. We had some police officers that helped pull people from the rubble, along with some of the workers from Amazon that got initial people out. After that, it became a little more technical. We had some concerns about safety of our workers because the building was still charged with electrical at that time, in addition to water that was leaking. The mains had broken, so water was pouring into the building. And then we also had gas leaking from natural gas. So lots of hazards that were going on in addition to things hanging overhead from partially collapsed roofs. And we had to move very slowly and methodically to make sure that we weren't injuring any of our workers.
Are those efforts completed for tonight?
They will be wrapping up here about now. We're working daylight hours moving forward.
Chief, from what I understand, this facility and these routes were owned by a third-party Amazon distributor. Have you spoken with that third party that owns the routes and the buildings there?
No, I haven't.
Can you speak to if people were sheltering in one spot or now throughout the building?
We found 2 locations basically where we had victims so far, but we're not done yet. So, yeah,
Was there a designated shelter in there? Anything even required by the county or city?
I can't speak to that.
Do you know anything about workers allegedly being trapped in a basement still?
No, to my knowledge, there's no basement in the facility.
Chief, what do you say to families or loved ones and friends who are still trying to get in touch with someone who works at the facility? Does that mean
Yeah.
still open? So what do you, and as far as hope, what would you tell those families? Some of them have had no sleep.
Mike, you have details on the Reunification Center?
So Pontoon Beach has graciously assisted throughout this, and the Madison County Coroner's Office, and then we've set up a reunification center there. It's still ongoing. They've anyone that might be missing a loved one, they can reach out to the Edwardsville Police Department, and we can provide them with information to respond to that center. Again, we would ask, it's an ongoing process. We understand that, if their loved one's missing, our hearts go out to them. Part of our first responders, we got to make sure it's a safe environment in order to get them in there. So, but they'll be able to respond there, and we have chaplains there along with coroner's office to try to get further information from them at that time to figure out if their loved one actually was at that center, and how to go about identifying where they're at, and make sure that we can resolve that issue for them.
Do we have a phone number or address to send people to that reunification center?
Yeah, so the address off for Pontoon Beach I don't have, but I can give you the phone number for our police department, which is 618-656-2131. Would ask folks, if you're missing a loved one, reach out to our dispatch. If you're looking, again, our dispatch has been inundated with media calls as well as citizens wishing to assist, and we would again ask for anyone wanting to assist to reach out to Red Cross or Salvation Army, and they can get that help better directed, and that'll free up our dispatch center to address these citizens, these families that are looking for someone or other things that they need to do.
I have a question for the governor, please. Who did you speak with at Amazon, and what exactly did you ask them to do?
So one of the leaders in their worldwide operations who covers this territory, and during that phone call, I asked them specifically to help the community recover, to be part of the recovery efforts here, especially for the families who lost loved ones and those who were injured, and to make sure that the community as a whole can recover, and they've offered to do that.
Does that mean financially? And did you ask them to let Amazon workers in other facilities go home today?
I didn't have a specific conversation about the hours of their workers or whether they would be going home today. I can only imagine that most of them are. But no, what we spoke about was the financial assistance and Amazon's presence, being engaged with the community in the recovery effort.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Can you
Yes.
speak briefly about any other damage that Illinois experienced in this event?
We've seen, unfortunately, as I mentioned, tornadoes touch down in a variety of counties throughout central Illinois, really from Metro East all the way across to Decatur and beyond. And of course, you know that same line of storms headed into Kentucky and did even more damage there, and there was a much greater loss of life. And I have spoken with the governor of Kentucky directly, and of course on the call with the president as well, with the other governors whose states have experienced not only damage but loss of life. But let me just say that throughout the state and central Illinois, that damage is something that we're going to have to address. The loss of life here is the most important immediate thing that we're here for, and of course the people who've been injured. But I think we're going to be recovering from this in central Illinois for really months to come, and the state will be with them.
And do you know about any other deaths outside of this event at the Amazon?
No, none. In fact, none have been reported. No other injuries as well outside have been reported to us.
Do you think Amazon should have a presence here or should have had a presence here at the press conference?
Oh, I can't speak to that. I know that they are, I mean, again, they have offered their resources, their help in this process. I know that they're involved in that, the providing of that reunification center. And, we'll be looking to them to live up to the promises that they've made, which I expect that they will.
All right, thanks everyone.
I do have one last question, actually, if that's okay. Did the state send out phone alerts or anything to residents in the tornado path?
Prior to, are you saying with the National Weather Service warnings? Well, sure, the normal Weather Service warnings were sent out, as you know, not by phone, but throughout the area. And our emergency management agency, of course, is responsible for whenever there is